In this last video, guys, I'm going to talk about the 5 steps to actually making a sale when you are talking to a client who is interested in paying you money. So listen up and let's take some notes. So here are the 5 steps to closing. So first thing, and usually we should have had this established already before the call. But the first thing that we've got to have is some sort of connection or rapport. They have to like you at least enough to talk to you. They, like if they just don't, like if you turn them off from the very beginning, if they're like for whatever, like there has to be some sort of likability. And that's why we do the qualifying call, because it goes both ways. If that person's a dick, I don't want to work for them. I don't want them to be a client, because if they're a dick on the first phone call, do you know how terrible they're going to be when they start paying you? So it's a similar kind of thing. And so that first initial qualifying call should establish some sort of connection, some sort of relatability, ideally outside of the business, right? You should find some sort of common ground. Oh, we're from the same area. Oh, our parents, our families from the same area. Oh, we have friends that went to the same college. Oh, we like the same pizza. Oh, we watch the same sports team. There should be something that lets this person know that you are a real human and an individual outside of a chatbot builder, outside of a website designer, outside of something. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you're married. Maybe you're single. Maybe, who knows? But the first step, right, is to really create this connection. And a lot of people don't. I didn't realize it at the beginning of my sales process. I thought if I went in and I just started hammering them with features and benefits, and I started hammering them with, you know, all the value that they could get, and I was like, this is a no-brainer. You are absolutely, you should get this. You know, you can afford it. Like, well, give me your credit card. A lot of times they either wouldn't buy, or they wouldn't buy as much as when I took the time to get to know them, to understand, you know, their days, to know what their family was about, to know what they were into, their interests, their careers, like to actually, you know, it's not natural for me. I don't like small talk. I mean, it's not natural. A lot of people are very, you know, surprised when I tell them that I'm introverted and I don't like people very much, because when I'm in social situations, I've learned how important small talk is, especially in a sales situation. So I always built in questions at the beginning of my, before I ever got anything, it was always just questions about them, just getting them talking. Some of the best like sales presentations I've ever had is when the customer actually does all the talking, and I can just ask the right questions that lead them into the topics and the subjects that I want to cover in my sales pitch anyways, and they basically sell themselves on it. And all I have to do is I'm like, okay, yeah, so what, do you want to get started? Again, that's really what it comes to. So the first part, right, if I can give you the tips here, questions. Have questions prepared. Like, either have some go-to questions that you always ask at the beginning, right? Or do some research. So like they're specific. So, hey, I was doing some research on your website today, and I noticed that this, and this, you know, what do you guys do about this? Or how are you guys doing this? And now it gets them talking about them, and now it's so much easier for you to now transition into the next part, right? Which is the pain or the problem, okay? Before they even care about what you have to offer, they need to know 2 things. The first thing is they need to know what the fuck their problem is. And I say that in a very matter-of-fact way, but I say it for emphasis because a lot of people, like I watch Kitchen Nightmares. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that show with Gordon Ramsay. And he goes in to these restaurants that are absolutely failing. Just everything is just running down. No one's in there. They're gonna close down. And he comes in. He's trying to save the day. And what's really, really interesting is they don't even know what their problem is. He goes in and he's the expert. He's the authority. So he goes in and he can identify boom, 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 boom. But them as the entrepreneur, as the solopreneur, as this non-expert person, have no idea what they're doing wrong. And so if they are not even aware that it's a problem, they're not going to be willing to invest in a solution, right? If they don't know that they have an issue, if they don't know that they're sick, why would they ever buy medicine? Most people are not proactive, right? In an ideal world, you're like, well, that's exactly why you're not sick yet. Take some vitamins, take some supplements. Yes, definitely. But most people are not a vitamin and a supplement kind of person. Most people are a medicine, a painkiller kind of person. So what you have to frame your service as is the painkiller, right? And Tony Robbins says it best. He's like, you got to stick them in the pain. Like you've got to bring. And so once again, I do it through questions. I find that for me, and that's just my personality, because I'm not a big boastful, braggadocious, outgoing, person. I like to pull. I'm good at pulling, answers out of them that are going to make them understand what it is that I want. Some people are great at explaining. Some people are great at telling stories. Whatever it is, but you need to highlight this pain that they're going through by asking them. So what have you guys done in your marketing? What's worked in the past? What hasn't? One of my favorite questions that I like to ask is there anything else that you guys wouldn't ever do again, right? Is there anything else that you would never do again? And they go, oh my goodness, we would never do this, and they tell you the story. And that does two things for them. The first thing is it takes them back to that pain, and they're literally experiencing that moment again, and their body chemistry is experiencing similar pain, similar anxiety to what they were experiencing in that moment. The second thing is you now know what to not do. You now know what to not offer. They are going to, the reason I ask so many questions in the beginning is because they will tell you what they want and how they want it. So figuring out what is their pain. Is it that they don't have enough clients? Is it that they don't have enough customers? Is it that they're spending too much money on shit that doesn't work? Is it that they're buying leads that aren't converting? Is it that they're marketing that isn't working? Like what is the pain, right? Is it that they're stagnant, right? They're successful, everything's doing well, but they just haven't grown. Get them talking about their pain, the problem, right? The third step, we're gonna call this the value and the solution. So after talking about this problem that they're experiencing, it only makes sense, right? That transition only makes sense for us to talk about, okay, well, here's what we've done for other people like you, or here's what I could do for someone like you, or here's how we solve those problems. So that third thing is the value and the solution of what it is that we can actually provide. And here's what I would encourage, okay? There's three things that you can sell people on, all right? And I'll share with you the mistake that most people make. The three that you can sell people on are features, benefits, and identity. And the challenge is that most people sell on features. And I'll just give you an analogy to kind of highlight how kind of silly it might be if this were the case. But this is like car salesmen trying to sell cars based on the rubber, based on the tires and the rims and the steering wheel, right? Oh, let me tell you what the windshield is made out of. Okay. That's not very sexy. People do not buy based on features, okay? Now, you might even say, well, okay, that sounds silly. I'm not going to sell someone the tires. Well, the next thing they go, well, this car is fast. It goes 80, 0 to 60 in 4.6 miles, right? It goes, sorry for the sirens. Maybe they say, this is 27 miles per gallon or whatever it is, right? Those are benefits. And those are great. Okay, features are great. You need good quality materials. You need good, you need good features for sure. And it's okay to highlight those, but you can't sell someone on it. Benefits are great as well, and benefits are the next level. A lot of people say don't sell features, sell benefits, and I would say, well, you should definitely highlight benefits, but what is most important to sell is their identity. Who are they becoming by buying, by purchasing, by signing up for your service? What kind of business owner, are they all of a sudden going to, by utilizing your service, become a level 3, a level 4 executive? Are they all of a sudden going to be the business owner who now has time to spend with their family because they're not constantly stressing about, getting new clients or their marketing or whatever it is, right? Like what is that? What are they going to feel like? What are they going to be? Think about for you guys probably saw in your heads when you guys came, joined this program, you guys saw yourself having a ton of clients. You guys saw yourself building this agency. You guys saw, yourself utilizing these tools and automation and so that's really what we need to be emphasizing, is that that identity that they are going to become by purchasing. Number 4 is they got to have contrast. Okay? They got to have contrast. When I started sales, it was really, really interesting because I was fortunate enough to learn sales from a sales company that had been around for, at the time, just over 75 years. And so what was really, really beautiful about learning sales in this kind of sales organization that had been around for so long was that every single year, every single day, the sales process was always evolving. It was always getting better. And so at the end, by the time that I got there, they already had this incredible, basically, presentation that all we had to do was we just had to read this script, and this formula, this outline just worked. And it was really incredible, and it was really eye-opening because when I was 17 years old, I was brand new, and I was like, why am I going to follow what these people say? Why am I going to do this? I've gotten my whole life doing my own thing, figuring out my own way. Now all of a sudden, I'm not going to read this, and there's no way, right? And so I started doing my own thing. I started just making up my own outline, having my own script, just going in and winging it, frankly. And what happened was I didn't succeed, right? It really, I had this really, really big slump. And one of the biggest things that I noticed was when I did not talk about my competitors, when I did not address what else was out there, when I did not actively frame and position, the word that you guys have been hearing, when I did not actively position my product, my service against all of the other competitors that are out there, I had a much less success rate, a much lower success rate. And the biggest thing that people would say is they're like, oh, let me think about it. I want to do my research. I'll get back to you. And it's because people don't want to experience buyer's remorse. People don't want to sign on the dot, pay you X amount of dollars or whatever it is that you're charging, and then all of a sudden see, oh my goodness, there was this other option that they could have done that they didn't, that's cheaper, faster, whatever, right? So a big part of my presentation is actively informing and positioning my services against all of these other things. So when I was on sales calls selling chatbots, I would be like, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Business Owner? And we would never really sell chatbots by itself. Like, we would always wrap them in our marketing services and our Facebook ads and our follow-up. So I was like, you could go out and you could pay, these other cheap marketing companies a couple $100 to do, to post on your Facebook and to do that. And you could do this, you could do all these other things. You could pay, a really high-priced person, right? But here's the problem with paying these low-end people. Here's the problem with paying these inexperienced people. Here's the problem with going on Fiverr. You know, Mr. Business Owner, you could do it yourself. You absolutely, if you wanted to, could set all of these systems up without me. But you are not going to spend the time that it takes to learn these, and you also know that you're not going to be willing to spend the time that it takes to have the trial and error that I've already gone through. And so I'm actively positioning myself against all of those other things so that even if they hear, right, of another offer afterwards, they at least know that they at least feel like they were informed, right? So it's like, okay, well, at least, you know, I was informed about my choices. But the second thing is they're like, well, yeah, but that is another cheap thing, and that's not going to be what I want, right? So by doing this, you're actually helping not only them to pull the trigger and make the decision right now, you're actually making them feel more, they're going to feel more confident moving forward, because you're not going to have to worry about them finding anybody else, you know, for cheaper, or heavens forbid you close them. They're getting ready, you know, to sign a contract, right? They just maybe they haven't signed a contract, or maybe whatever, you know, you didn't send them the payment thing because you didn't have an invoice ready, or whatever happens, right? They're ready to go, but then they go, you know what? Let me check Fiverr. Let me check Upwork. Let me see what these prices are for a Facebook ads guy. Let me see what a website costs on Fiverr. Oh, I can get a website for $5. Oh, you know what, Micah? You know what, Richard? You know what? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go. I just think, you know, a lot of times you might not even hear back. Like what happens with those is they find some, like they go on there and they find someone super cheap, and then they just ghost you. They just disappear. And so by proactively informing them of that, you're going to prevent those types of things. And then the last thing is urgency. You want to give them a reason to pull the trigger right now, on the phone, today. Let's go. Let's do it. Like let's sign on, like, right now. And if that means you got to give a discount, if that means you got to give a bonus, if that means you got to give a massage, whatever you got to do, get them to sign the trigger, get them to pull the trigger right now, right? Even like get them. So a lot of times this means having a sample invoice in advance, right? A lot of times this means having having an invoice ready to send, having a sample contract ready to send, having all of this ready so that it's not like, oh, let me go create this and then I'll send it to you, because you want to be able to create an opportunity for them to do everything right there. Okay, awesome. You know what? Click this link here. I'll send it in the chat, you know? And my favorite thing is like, and we'll just take care of it right now. So that if you have any issues, then, you know, I can help you right now. Some people don't know how to use the website, whatever. Right, but I want to get them to pay right there, ideally. If not, and then let's go over degrees, right? Let's go over variances, right? Because ideally, some people are going to go, well, I can't, you know, it's going to be hard to get them to pay. Okay, fine. Can they put down a deposit? Can you get them to go, okay, you know what? It's going to be, you know, $1,500. You're going to put down $500, $250, $150. Get them to put some skin in the game, because by getting them to put down that $150, you're going to exponentially increase the chances that you almost guarantee the fact that you'll get the rest of it, because they've already paid a bit. But if they haven't paid anything, there's no opportunity cost. There's no sunk cost there. So there's nothing to really there's nothing that they really lose yet, right? I feel like there's something I wanted to say. Okay, so let's talk about urgency. How do we do this? Now, a lot of people, there's two methods, right? And once again, here's positioning. Here's how I position, right? You could go with scarcity. You could go with, you know what? There's only a limited time. You have to do this. Like you could go with scarcity by taking stuff away, by even discounting is kind of a scarce kind of mindset, right? And that, but discounting, it works and stuff like that. But you could do that kind of route where it's like kind of a negative. If you don't do this now, you're gonna miss out. That's how some people frame it. They're like, you know, if you don't do this now, you're gonna miss out. What I like to do is I use the Frank Kern method, And I like to increase the coolness. So instead of making it a negative if they don't say yes now, these are going to be clients that we're going to be working with for a long, for ideally a long time. We don't want them having a sour taste in their mouth. We don't want them feeling, feeling like icky, like they were like strong-armed into buying with us or paying us. We want someone to be excited and motivated and ecstatic to join, to sign on, because now they're going to be a lot more willing to give referrals. Now they're going to be obviously in a much better mindset and a much better client to work with. So how can you stack the cool? How can you stack the value by getting them to sign on today? And maybe maybe you pull back one piece of your offering. And what we had is when we had basic, we had a basic offering, we kind of had an intermediate offering, and we had an advanced offering. For our chatbot builds, and depending on what what kind of the business had. And one thing that we did is we offered the ability to add on that like if they signed on today, they could get the advanced build for the medium price. So they weren't actually like missing out necessarily. They were getting more stuff by pulling the trigger. So what can you take out, but then give as a bonus, right? Like that, even for your offerings, even if that is an increased coolness is instead of saying we'll give you $500 discount, if you're running Facebook ads, maybe you say, and we'll give you $500 credit, ad credit if you sign on today. Just the simple framing of the words will really make a difference in how it's perceived. But increasing the coolness is the way that we recommend it. All right, guys, there you guys have it. We talked about in the very first video how to pick a niche, how to find people who are going to be interested and motivated to pay you money. The second thing we talked about is things that you can do to actually find these people, to go out there, grab their information. We talked about ways to reach out to them. And then we also started to talk about the systems and the things that you needed to have in place so that you could automate it, so that you could find the ones who were actually motivated and interested in getting started with your services today. So if you guys want to take this deeper, if you guys want to use this information, you want to use these tools, I would encourage you guys to use our sales automation software. You can get access to them for $1 a day, or if you want to take this even deeper, if you want to learn even more, join our Sales Automation Mastermind. You get access to all of our software. You get weekly hangouts with our Sales Automation Mastermind crew. You're able to ask questions. You get a bunch of other bonuses and a ton of other cool ways to make money. So if you guys are interested in that, check out the links, and we'll see you on the next one.